This morning, I'm heading into New York City for the US Open and to stealth camp in my camper van overnight. Surprisingly, I actually feel very confident about finding a spot to sleep because about 3 years ago, the US Open was the very first time I ever took my old camper van to New York City, so I've actually done this before. These are some clips from a video I made 3 years ago, and my experience at the US Open was totally different than it is today. So much has changed. I won't spoil too much, but let's just say last time I wasn't here for the tennis.
It started raining, I took shelter in a bathroom hallway, and this lady taught us how to juggle. Then it was back to staking out a good spot for the DNCE concert. I was this close to Joe Jonas again, but this time it cost me about $700 less. So thank you to Chase for putting on this free concert. I'm still fangirling from getting the set list. I ended the night by finding a free, gorgeous place to sleep.
Every year they have a free concert of sorts, and in 2022 that was DNCE, which was crazy. But this year they had a silent disco and a block party with the DJ instead, so not as much my style, but still fun free events they offer as a part of Fan Week, but we'll go into all of that in a minute. So there are parking lots here, and sometimes they're free and sometimes they're upwards of $40. It kind of depends on the day, but personally, I have my own little secret spot that I park not only during the day, but it's where I stealth camp at night too, and it's just behind the stadium and about a 15-minute walk back and forth. It was so stunning and beautiful last time. However, it does get close to a disaster later tonight, but the difference definitely was the fact that last time I parked in the front of the parking lot, and this time I parked way too close to the highway. So what I'm here for is the US Open Fan Week, which is a super cool, free-to-enter week-long event. It gives you great access to the grounds and the qualifying tournament, but honestly, what brings me here as someone who isn't a tennis fan is all of the other fun things they have going on all week, like the silent disco and the DJ party, but honestly, what I'm most excited for is the free giveaway of an exclusive Marvel comic about tennis featuring the Fantastic Four. Another exciting part is Media Day, where you can listen to the top players during their pre-tournament interviews. In general, all of those events are free, but I did buy a ticket to the Stars of the Open match tonight with all of the greatest players in tennis. I parked on a pretty bad angle, but luckily, the whole point of van life is not to be in the van. So maybe when I sleep tonight, I'll re-park over towards the front, maybe more under the underpass so I'm more invisible, but for now I wanted to be away from all of the cars that are moving around, partly because the more cars that move around me, the more likely I am to get hit, which is not lovely. So it's actually pretty late in the day. It's about 2 o'clock, and I really wanted to make breakfast before I went down to Arthur Ashe Stadium, I believe is what it's called. But I'm currently having a small dilemma, which is that I forgot to lock my fridge before I started driving, and now it's jammed. It's jammed in the most insane way I've ever seen. So maybe I just won't have food for the whole weekend? We're gonna see. What do I do? It just took 30 minutes. 30 minutes. At least my fridge opens now. I was worried because I always stock up on food before I come into New York just because of gouged pricing in New York City, because they can. I have like 5 things of Velveeta mac and cheese I could put in the microwave, but I wanted real food, so. It did it again! Oh my god! No way! Dang it! Well, these better be the best god dang corn dogs of my life. The US Open is the 3rd place I can check off on my sports bucket list, which is very exciting. I'm trying to stealth camp every major sporting event in America, and I've already been to the Kentucky Derby and the Super Bowl. And crazy enough, next year, the World Cup is coming to America, and in 2028, the Summer Olympics will be in Los Angeles, so this list is definitely possible. Also, if you can think of any big events or sports places that I've missed on this list, let me know. I think one of the things that makes VanLife so incredible is that it helps make attending these kinds of events affordable. Just by saving hundreds of dollars in hotel prices tonight, it's changed everything. However, obviously there are added risks with that, which is that this is New York City. And my likelihood of having someone break into my car or attack me exponentially increased from a place like northern Maine, where I was last week. However, I knew when I was building this van that I wanted to take it to dangerous places, so I deeply prepared for this. There are about 3 locks on every door. I have video cameras that connect to my phone so I can keep an eye on my van from anywhere, and I can even remotely set off an alarm system. I have 3 different tracking devices. My partition door into my cab acts as another locking system. I made my van as stealth as possible so it wouldn't look like a camper van, and the partition door also adds to the stealth, helping it look like a work van. I have a work vest sitting over my chair, and I could keep going and going. There are so many security facets in this van that make it ready to handle New York City. And eventually I hope to add shatterproofing to the back windows, so there's even more upgrades coming in the future as well. I remember taking this walk just a few years ago when I had my old van and feeling very nervous all day about if my van would be safe. And it's kind of crazy the difference in peace of mind I can feel on this walk right now. I feel really confident that if someone even tries to break into any of my doors, they're just going to end up with more of a headache than it's worth, and that is such a freeing feeling. I feel like I have a bit of my freedom back in that way. So right now, we are walking through Flushing Meadows Corona Park. It is one of New York City's largest public spaces and was developed for the 1939 New York World's Fair. It actually started as an ash dump, famously described as a valley of ashes in the famous book The Great Gatsby. It was formed by decades of coal ash and street sweepings and was just a giant eyesore and overtaken by a ridiculous amount of mosquitoes. But then, with a lot of hard work, they changed it into this now beautiful public park. And one of the big icons of the park, besides being home to the US Open, is the Unisphere. It was the main symbol of the 1964 New York World Fair to celebrate the beginning of the space age. It stands 140 feet tall and was designed to fit the fair's theme of peace through understanding. Encircling the Earth are 3 orbital rings that famously trace the path of early human and satellite spaceflights. Directly across from the Unisphere is the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center, the world's largest tennis-specific venue with a massive seating capacity of over 23,000. Interestingly, while researching about the stadium, I found a NASA-led geological study in Science Advances that suggests the stadium is sinking at a rate nearly 3 times faster than the rest of New York City because of the fact that it was built on the reclaimed marshlands and the landfill site I was talking about earlier. But you know, I guess we'll just enjoy it while we can. It definitely feels different to walk through this place knowing its history. The stadium was opened in 1997, and during the opening ceremony, Whitney Houston actually performed One Moment in Time, which would have been iconic to witness. And over the years, it has hosted events far beyond tennis, including the finals of the Fortnite World Cup eSport tournament, the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show, and even professional wrestling and the WNBA have had events here. And during the pandemic, it was even converted into a temporary hospital, which is kind of insane to think about. This is one of their wall of champions, and I found my favorite tennis player of all time, Billie Jean King, who received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2009, and this venue was even renamed after her. She was the #1 player in the world and won an insane 39 Grand Slam titles and 20 titles at Wimbledon. She fought for the huge pay disparity between male and female players, and because of this, exactly 50 years ago, the US Open became the first Grand Slam tournament to offer equal prize money for men and women in 1973. But this also led to the huge event you may have heard of before, the Battle of the Sexes. Bobby Riggs was one of the top-ranked players in the 30s and 40s, but in the 70s, he could not stop opening his mouth to make so many ridiculous sexist comments. One of his most famous quotes was, "Women belong in the bedroom and the kitchen," in that order. I could go on and on, it's awful some of the things he said, but he was also making comments that women tennis players were not even a quarter as talented as the male players, and this led to the Battle of the Sexes tennis match in 1973 that was sparked by Riggs saying he could beat any female tennis player, and Billie Jean King took this challenge, and Riggs said that if he won, it would be a big boost for men's superiority. However, one of my favorite quotes from Billie Jean King on the day she beat him was, "I came to understand that this was never about tennis. It was about social change, about women feeling like they could do anything they wanted to do. That's why I played." And she truly did change the world that day. But now that I've given you an intense history lesson, let's check out the booths and the shops here. I thought this one was so creative and fun they turned tennis into some serious high fashion. This whole section, spanning from one side of the complex to the other, is lots of different vendor booths. Some are sponsors, some are games, some are giveaways. The Tiffany & Co booth actually had replicas of the US Open trophies on display because they're currently the official trophy partner for the tournament. Also, everywhere that you walk here, you're happening upon more qualifying matches happening. So if you're unfamiliar, the US Open is the final Grand Slam tennis tournament of the year, held annually over 2 weeks. The main singles events feature a 128-player knockout bracket, meaning a player must win 7 consecutive matches to claim the championship. The men's singles matches are a best-of-5 sets format, while the women's singles and all doubles matches are a best-of-3 sets. If the deciding set reaches a 6-game tie, a special 10-point tiebreaker is played to determine the match winner. Ultimately, the tournament crowns champions across 5 primary divisions: men's and women's singles, men's and women's doubles, and mixed doubles. I know I've been throwing a lot of information at you, but you really can attend the US Open and know nothing about tennis and just come here for the vibes and for a good time, which I think is totally reasonable since Fan Week is numerous days of free entry. The real test is trying not to spend all of your money on the merch. Thankfully, my tiny camper van is already way too full of stuff, so space-wise, I can't afford to bring anything home, which actually saves me a lot of money all of the time. So all day, I was just weaving in and out of various matches, and I just tried to remember all I knew from playing tennis on the Wii when I was in middle school. A lot of the terms I was hearing, I remember hearing on my TV when I was a kid. So deuce means the score is 40-40, and the next point is considered a pivot point for a player to gain the advantage and then be able to win that set. And I feel like that was the only thing I needed to understand in order to understand these matches all day. Though one thing that confused me was that I felt like they hit the net when serving so much. I was confused because it makes them look like they can't serve, and I kept wondering how many times they were allowed to do that until they lost a turn. But there's actually technically no limit to the amount of times the serve can hit the net if it still lands in the correct box and they don't fault the serve. If they double fault, then they lose a point. I just feel like those rules make it so these people feel no pressure to actually serve with any attempt to get it over the net. And I felt crazy having to watch what is supposed to be the best of the best serve and hit the net like 5 times in a row each time. But again, what do I know? I literally know nothing about tennis except Wii tennis. And I'm sure it is much easier to hit the ball over the net on Wii tennis in my own home than in real life on the biggest tennis stage in the world. Thank you.
There are other ways and other reasons, but only one that cuts to pieces. So why we tryna hide from trust? We could just leave. We fail, but we're better than that. Yeah, we're better than that. I know, you know, so
So now it's time for a fun game I call Guess the Price, which started because I saw a cute skirt like one I got on Amazon for $15, but guess how much it is here? I am willing to bet everything you did not guess that this basic white skirt was $100. Next up are these basic tote bags with only one tiny bit of embroidery, $84 insane dollars. And the mini version? Somehow they thought $38 was a reasonable thing to ask. But the craziest find was this jacket, which I found one just like it in a thrift store a few years ago for under $10. So let me tell you, my jaw dropped. It costs almost $300. So yeah, I quickly walked my butt right out of that store. And across the walkway was the free US Open American Express fan experience.
Hi, welcome in. We don't have any restrooms. There's no
While their food court offers an extremely wide variety of foods, there is one that has gone completely viral and is the signature drink of the US Open. It's called a honey juice, and it is a combination of Grey Goose vodka, Chambord, which is a black raspberry liquor, and lemonade garnished with 3 honeydew melon balls that I feel like are meant to resemble tennis balls. I think it is such a cute drink, and it comes with an exclusive US Open glass. It also comes with a $23 price tag, which I don't know alcohol, so I don't know if that's a good price or not. But last year, they ended up selling 550,000 of these, which translates to one every 1.5 seconds, generating $12.8 million in revenue, according to Medium.com. So I'm sure this year was even crazier. So there was a little time jump there because I went back to eat the lunch I brought in my van so I could save money, and I may have taken a little nap because being in such an insanely crowded area exhausted me. And also, honestly, I was upset with how this video was coming out because I just didn't feel like I could give it my best effort. When I got to security, they told me I wasn't allowed to bring any cameras of any kind in, so I had to use my phone to record the whole time, and everyone was just so crowded. At times it was like shoulder to shoulder, like bumping around, that it felt awkward and embarrassing to have so many people see me filming. But also, as an introvert, it's super draining. Honestly, I just started to feel defeated. I can't help that I want every video I make to feel like my best video yet. But also, I think maybe I just needed to take a nap and have a little snack, which is why it is so nice to have my van to go back to. I could walk 15 minutes back to my house, completely refresh and re-energize myself, and I just can't even begin to explain how invaluable that has been in so many scenarios. Right now, I'm heading into the only tennis match I paid to see. It is called the Stars of the Open, featuring the biggest names in tennis facing off against each other. The first match of the night that's on the court right now is Coco Gauff and Andre Agassi versus Venus Williams and John McEnroe. You really can't find much bigger names in tennis than these. But what also makes this really special is that it's 4 generations of legends and champions coming together on the court. McEnroe is 66, Agassi is 55, Williams is 45, and Coco is 21. I paid $43 for general admission, which was a great deal, I think, and essentially I could sit anywhere in this top area of the dome all the way around. I really was just here for the vibes, so this was a great seat for me. Also, can you tell I'm an introvert by how I sat all the way as far back as I could? Also, for this match, they aren't playing this to win or as some hardcore rivals or to prove a point or anything like that. This is fully meant to be a fun and lighthearted match that brings together everyone's favorite players to support the USTA's foundation, and the coolest part is that they're all mic'd up and talking through the whole match, cracking jokes, and you really get to see each of their personalities. It was honestly really hard to hear what they were saying from all the way up here, but it was still really fun. While this seat was good, I started to think next year, I think I should try to be on the court for the Stars of the Open. And I know you're thinking I'm crazy right now, but all day I was noticing there was something I hadn't considered. You don't have to play tennis to be in the US Open. You could be a ball catcher retriever person. Unlike some of the other Grand Slams that only hire children or teenagers, the US Open has no age restriction for its bald people. I saw a lot of diversity all day, even people in their late 60s. So you start with an application online to test your basic knowledge of tennis, then you have to attend a competitive in-person tryout in New York to prove your speed, agility, and ball handling accuracy. Then, if you're picked, you join a trained team. And you receive a freaking Ralph Lauren official uniform, which I really hope they get to keep because they look so cool. After the first match, they brought out Alex Morgan, a professional soccer player, to try tennis for the first time. Also, random fun fact, if you remember, tennis courts actually used to be green, but the reason they changed the color to blue in 2005 is that it made it easier for people watching on TVs to be able to track the tennis balls on screen. After that match, they had numerous other matches with tennis stars, but I only stayed for a few more because it was already getting dark outside and I needed to get back to my van alone and safe. After I locked up for the night, I checked on my surroundings, then was just laying in bed about to close my eyes when all of a sudden, I hear this. There's gonna be insane traffic. That's a one-way, there's only one lane and they're stuck right in it. No one can get that way. I'm also concerned that this means there's gonna be cops in the area and I'm straight in the line of sight and it may compromise this sleeping spot tonight, but we'll see. Not good. There was so much honking and so much yelling and so many sirens and there was so little sleep. That's pretty much my biggest nightmare. What are the odds that happened tonight while I'm here? And then to add to the noise, this started happening. Good for the car? He just kept going. They did donuts for over 30 minutes. I think wearing headphones while sleeping in a van, especially alone, to drown out the noise would put me in an unsafe position to hear other threats, so I just have to accept that this is my fate tonight and be thankful I took a nap earlier, and on the bright side, I wasn't in an accident. Things definitely could be worse. Whenever I hear tires screeching now, I have like PTSD. I'm like, no, not again! Not again! So soon! It's gonna be a long night, and it's already almost 1 a.m. Yay! Van life! Well, the traffic is totally gone at least, so... Oh my gosh. Hopefully that's all that goes wrong tonight. That was me. I knocked. I was knocking on wood. There was not someone knocking on my van. PTSD. I hear a knock on doors and I get like so tense and my heart starts to race from any knock on any door. That's van life. No, that's van life as a city girl, not as a backcountry, state forest kind of girl. Thank you so much for watching until the end of this video. I put a lot of time and effort into these videos, so it really means a lot to me. I hope you enjoyed getting an inside look at the US Open, and maybe I'll see you in the next video.